Hi everybody, Renegade 67 and or 68 here with some more Let's Play stream Fate Stay Night Blind of the Unlimited Blade Works variety. I said that correctly. So, last time, Caster, she had a hard knock life. And now she is being very mean in her unlife. But it's relatable. And it's definitely gone beyond, oh, here's why she has a tragic backstory, but she's irredeemable now. I mean, it's sad how she was in the past, but no, they're not doing that. They're very clearly, especially with Shiro being someone who wants to save everyone, they're very clearly, I think, setting up the idea that Shiro is going, or Shiro or Archer Shiro, probably Archer Shiro. I think Shiro, I think, is a little too green, but I think Archer Shiro is going to end up saving Castor, quote unquote, metaphoric, saving her from her evil self and making her good with the help of Kazuki, possibly, because Kazuki likes her, and they're gonna get married or something. Which begs the question of what the final threat is, and I feel like there's two real possibilities. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but my guess would be that they're gonna go down one of two routes. The one route, which I think is more likely, is that Castor is just she's the big villain still, but like she gets back. I think in both of these routes, Castor gets backed into a corner somewhat. She gets backed into something of a corner, and in desperation, she could be backed into a corner because of Berserker, or maybe Gilgamesh because she doesn't know about him, or maybe Assassin. But regardless, she'll get back into a corner, and then she'll do some kind of crazy magic or Grail magic that she can't control. And it's like, it's too powerful, and maybe it's going to endanger Kazuki or something. And she's like, no, I didn't want this. And then Archer Shiro has to come to the rescue and sacrifice himself or something like that. I think that is the most likely direction. Or if it's either magic she can't control, or she tries to power herself up, but with it makes her kind of insane berserkerish style, and so she still loses control. I think that's one possibility. I think that's the more likely one, but then the other one in my mind is maybe Assassin's got some shenanigans, and Assassin could turn out to be the real big bad. I mean, he is evil alignment, right? Despite how honorable he seems so far. He clearly doesn't like Castor, but now the game is conditioning us to kind of like Castor. So I think it's very possible that Assassin could betray Castor and then be like, aha, I'm the villain. You got in over your head, little girlie. I'm really evil, though. You thought you were evil, but you summoned me. Real evil. I don't know, maybe. I could see them going that now that we know that Castor's not all bad. I think those are the two main possibilities. Assassin's got some shenanigans, or more likely, Castor does something she can't control. I don't see Gilgamesh. I feel like they're going on a route where he could be the villain, but I don't think they're going to do it because Timeline 1 he's already the villain. Similar to Kirei, and otherwise there's not really any good candidates, which is why I think they're going this direction. But for the big final villain. Anyways, let's continue. So, I saw many corpses. That sounds unpleasant. I died at that time and was reborn. Oh yes, the fire. Yes, of course. You metaphorically died, but did you literally die? Plot twist, question mark? I do not have any regrets. I think you're lying to yourself saying you don't have any regrets. That's what you said to Tosaka. Good old fire trauma, yep. That's what you said to Tosaka the other day to convince her. But I think you're partially lying to yourself. I don't know, because if you really had no regrets, then you wouldn't feel so trapped into following this wish because you feel you have to. And maybe that's what you're trying to realize now, if you really do have regrets. If you really have no regrets, then yes. But the way you've been acting up until now definitely implies that the regrets are there. My eyes lost hatred there. Yeah, because you basically accepted you were going to die. You went over this. You basically accepted he was going to die just before he was saved, which can definitely mess with him. And I guess maybe he has no regrets. He thinks he has no regrets in the sense that, oh, I gave up on my old life. But I think he's attached himself so much to Kiritsugu's ideal that he's future regretting. If he doesn't live up to those expectations, he's going to regret not living up to them in the future. So he's regretting the future past, as it were, before it's already become his past. Um, yeah, it's basically Kiritsugu's will, is what it seems like. I feel like he never. I don't know if he ever really had much fire regrets to begin with, because as he said, like he basically died in the fire metaphorically, and he let himself die even. So now it's all clinging to him. I guess there's regrets of not being able to save everyone in the fire in timeline when he kind of dabbled with the idea of going back, but even then, deep down, he didn't want to, which is what ultimately he said when he was confronted. But he did like go back and forth in his head with the ideal, internally, super internally, before he was confronted with it. So yeah. Anyways, my eyes lost hatred. My hands lost anger there. My legs lost hope there. My hands lost anger? What? As in to beat people up? You need, fisty fists to beat people up, I guess, sometimes. Without your swords, before you get your swords and your bows and your arrows. Myself lost itself there. Sure. My legs lost hope, as in hope to run away. Okay. Myself lost itself. Everything went away. It is not because I gave up that I believe nothing would save me. It's because you believe nothing would save you that you gave up? Or is it going to be more complicated than that? It's not because I gave up that I believe nothing would save me. I just found out that it's natural. Oh, after seeing everyone die around you, you're like, oh, there's no reason I'll be saved. It's not about giving up. It's about an acceptance that, people are just going to die even if they shouldn't die. Dark. Makes sense. It's just that dying people will die and survivors will survive. Yeah, that's definitely one way to lose hope, as you think, oh, shit just happens. I might live, I might not, but why try? I might be saved, but maybe I'll try my best to not be saved, so why try? That's a dark mentality, but I can understand it based on that circumstance. I lay down the rubble and stared at the burning field. Mm-hmm. Makes sense, makes sense. I understood everything then. I thought I understood everything. But you were wrong. You were still green, Shiro. And now you have red hair, but you're still green. What? You have to take that red on your hair and put it on your outfit. Then you won't be green anymore. But I still considered it. I thought I understood everything, but I still considered it. Saving everyone? How wonderful it would be. Telling one Shiro was mostly dragged down by the orphans in the fire and his survivor guilt, and took Kirei to fix that up. Thanks, Kirei. Focused on what it actually means to be a hero? Yeah. Archer being the part of himself that is constantly questioning him? Yeah. Still, is Archer the right answer? Because he seems, not in the best mind state based off Rin's dreams. So, I feel like he's not a terrible end for Shiro, but certainly not the ideal one. If I was able to save everyone here. Yep. Okay, he's admitting he considered it. And yet he still is not even thinking about using the Grail to go back. Because he doesn't regret? I guess that does go into the idea of not regretting. That's what I admired. Oh, he's looking up at the sky. This is, cute. It's been a weekend, but if memory serves, she, in her flashback, was looking up at the rainy sky caster, and so it's like, oh, that's cute. It's the hero and the villain, but they're not that dissimilar. That's what I admired. I just wish nobody would have to suffer. That's why I tried to become a superhero. It was simple, and it seemed like an ideal existence. But if it is an ideal existence, is it something you're ever going to reach? Questions, questions, questions. That was why I aimed for it. You aimed for it because it was ideal, or you aimed for it because you refused to believe anything less than the ideal, because less than the ideal makes you unhappy? I guess because it was simple, that's why you believed in it? That was why I aimed for it. Because it was simple, or because it was an ideal? I knew where I had to be, but there were many ways to get there. I kept on running, wanting to get as close to it as possible, even though I did not know what was right or wrong. My paths I took were crooked, and my destination was only getting farther away. Yeah, it sounds about right. Based on your history until now, if you've been trying to become a superhero, you've been doing it in kind of, spinning its wheels kind of way. spinning your wheels, as it were, or spinning the ideal of a superhero's wheels. Spinning the wheels without ever getting on the thing that has the wheels on it. You weren't getting on, so you could drive away. That works too. Uh-huh. Wanting to get as close to it as possible. Did not know what was right or wrong. You see, that's the first problem. Well, it's not really the first problem, but it is a problem. I'm taking the long way, which is, you taking the scenic route, or are you just lying to yourself saying you're taking the long way and you're not actually heading there in the first place? I've been repeating this for 10 years since I got saved by Kiritsugu. Okay, self-revelation at least that you're taking the long way. But I won't regret it. You won't regret, because if you refuse to regret because you feel like if you'll regret, you'll start regretting everything. That is also, if that is the case, kind of another parallel to Castor, as it were. She just let herself accept herself as the villain because she was sick of, hating herself over it, that she just decided, fuck it, I'll be the villain. And that's arguably similar to what's happening with Shiro, is he was like, maybe I could be a hero. Then Kiritsugu saves him, and he passed on his dream. It's like, oh, I should be a hero, because if I fail to be a hero, I'll feel like I didn't even deserve to live or something. And so it's kind of similar in the sense that they feel like, Castor feels she has to play the villain at this point. She feels she's too far gone. She can't, be saved now. And Shiro feels he has to be the hero because, he owes it to Kiritsugu after he said, yeah, I'll take on that wish. He can't do anything else now. And they feel forced into these roles. Castor maybe can gracefully exit that role. Shiro, though, can at least properly embrace it. I'm not as skillful as Tosaka. I will take the wrong path and lose a lot of things at times. Big theme of Fate Stay is identity and who people choose to be in their roles. Yeah. True. Rin and her pride, and is that who she really wants to be? She feels like she has to, be prideful and all that. And Ilya has this specific role she has to do from the Einsburns. Definitely a lot of people feel like there's roles that they have to fill. And breaking away from those roles could be the bigger message, but if it is just breaking away from the roles, that's the question. If it's breaking away from the roles, then Shiro should realize that I don't really want to be a hero. If he goes along the hero path, then the message would be more something like, at least figure out if that is really what you want to do, or if you should just switch paths altogether. I'll take the wrong path and lose a lot of things at times, but I cannot discard them as meaningless. I have to present meanings for everything I've trampled upon and everything that cannot be returned. There it is. I have to present meanings for everything, because if you don't, you'll just, you'll spiral in your own self-hatred. So there has to be meaning, or everything's wasted. So I cannot lose. It can't be helped if I lose again against someone else. But I can win against myself. I can always fight back against my mind that tells me to give up. But is it healthy to fight back? I mean, if the alternative is letting yourself spiral in despair, then yeah, fight back. But I think it depends on how you fight in this case. That would be what is more important, is how you fight, I would say. Basically, even if my life is a wrong one, I want to make it a meaningful one. Yeah. That is progress. Of a sort. If the alternative is just continue being wrong. Always fight back against my mind that tells me to give up. It can't be helped if I lose against someone else, I think is a bit of a problem. I think, yeah, sometimes you might lose, but you should still try your best to win. The self-acceptance that you're just going to lose is sort of some of that self-hatred going in. Of course, I'm not as good as everyone else, so I'll probably lose a whole bunch. It's only in the moment when protecting other people that he really is like, no, I have to win, like the thing with Tosaka. I am good. He let himself be good because he felt he had to be to help Rin in the moment in the Kazuki fight in the dungeon. Priest dungeon, but if it's for himself, I don't think he could ever, let himself think, oh, no, I have to win. He'll, try, but he doesn't really try unless it's for someone else's sake, which arguably is the hero thing and shows that maybe the hero path isn't the wrong one for him. But the question then he has to ask himself is that really the hero thing? Or is that, I just want to protect people I personally care about, like Rin, like Saber, because that's when he's busted out his his, his yin yang swords or his caliber and his sword birth in general. Um, Even, fighting against Shinji in the school was like to save Taiga, for example. So I think there's arguments that can be made how much he really cares about random innocents. Now, granted, he was super against Castor using all those innocents and stuff. But, when she says, I'm going to use everyone, is that Shiro going, oh, that's bad in general? Or is that him going, well, I want to protect the people close to me? Ah. It's a real question. Are you far too broken to have a life of his? Is he far too broken to have a life of his own? Truly live? His options limited. Either he becomes Kiritsugu Archer, he gets attached to a waifu and live for their sake and memory. Maybe that is the question. I mean, that's a question within a question. Is that his only real healthy outcome? Is gets a waifu and just decides to be a little more selfish? Or is there a way for him to not be a Kiritsugu Archer but still, be more helpful to people than just, I only care about my waifu? That's all I swore upon. There's only one thing that I believed in and wanted to believe in. Allow post timeline 1 Shiro living for Saber's memory? Maybe that's why, living for Saber's memory. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about timeline 2 Shiro as post timeline 1 Shiro, but you're right. The end of timeline 1 Shiro, that's why that is true. That's right. Even if I am walking down the wrong path, I will not regret believing in it. That's a flimsy line, Shiro. You could at least ask yourself. You shouldn't. The problem is you shouldn't have to blame yourself if it does turn out to be the wrong path, or you shouldn't have to overly blame yourself a little. That's what I mean. Is that blaming yourself somewhat for things that have happened in the past is fine as long as you don't wallow in that blame. So you shouldn't be forced to be on the path just because it's too painful if, it does turn out to be the wrong path. You shouldn't be forced to keep believing in it, but I will not regret believing in it. Dash. I wake up from the light shining in. It would be the idea of, oh, I'm a superhero, I want to be a superhero. If that develops into naturally, no, I don't really want to be a superhero. I'm just kind of a good person, and want to be a superhero is kind of unhealthy. If that is where it develops, that would be an interesting turn. I think he's probably going to end up being I'm going to be a more healthy superhero, but I will be a superhero. I think that is roughly what he's going to develop into, but it would certainly be interesting if he just decided to be a bit more selfish by the end, because usually in narratives a character will start being kind of selfish, and then over time they're like, with great power comes great responsibility, and they start being more helpful and become, more of a hero towards the end. So it would be very interesting if they did sort of an inverse with this narrative, if they do go down that route. Show's still an interesting character study regardless, but I'm a hero and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, current Shiro. I know my path is wrong, but I have nothing else but this path. And maybe that means late Shiro is, I will switch paths. Could be. I wake up from the light shining in. It's before 6 o'clock. The sky I can see through the window is a clouded one. Okay. How's Rin doing? I get ready and leave my room. My body feels well, and there isn't that much pain from my wound. I shouldn't be a burden to Tosaka. Even if we end up fighting, still calling her Tosaka. Knowing that Archer, technically I'm assuming that Archer is Shiro, and Archer does just call Rin. I don't feel that would be, well, it's possible he's from an alternate timeline where he just, waifu'd Rin. But since this is kind of the Rin waifu-ish timeline anyway, I do feel we're going to have a turning point where he starts, dropping the first name, the Rin name, as it were. Well, I know it's the last name in Japanese, but you get what I mean. I think we are going to have a turning point where he starts actually using the Rin name, so I'm definitely looking strongly for that at this point, since Rin has more or less transitioned into just Shiro, except when, maybe in more of a teacher mode. But Shiro is still holding out on just the Tosaka. I shouldn't be a burden to Tosaka even if we end up fighting each other. Oh, no, against other people.
来たわね。準備はいい？シロ。
What? The glasses? What? Glasses? Glasses for teaching me or glasses for... Why do you have glasses? Eh? You here. Are you ready, Shiro? Are you teaching me magic lessons? Do you normally use, like, reading glasses? Or are you, like, faking teacher? Or do you normally read with... Huh? Do you normally use contacts? And you're doing glasses because I'm me? Wait, what? Dash. I'm ready, but... Tosaka's transformed. Uh-huh.
何よ。地雷踏んで動けなくなった新兵みたいな顔して。まだ準備できてないの？
What? You look like a new soldier just stepped on a mine. Are you not ready yet? Do you normally use contacts? Have we been told that? Are you like a glasses person normally uses contacts, but you don't have contacts because the contacts are your place, you had to use glasses? Is that what's going on here? What? That would be a crazy twist. I guess it works because you have bad eyesight, because you got glasses. But then Archer is your servant, so it's like inverse. They're supposed to be like you, but it would be a parallel, not a parallel. The other thing. He's got the good eyesight and you got the bad eyesight. I guess that's funny, in a way. Couldn't you just magically contact up? I guess that's too much magical energy. Are you not ready yet?
いや、そうじゃなくて、Tosaka、なんか変じゃないか。
That's not it. Tosaka, you look different. Huh? Oh, I see the little blush that showed up just as I said that. I see it, Rin. You look like a new soldier just stepped on a mine. Wait, who's the new soldier? Am I the new soldier and your glasses are the mine? The instant war analogy is an interesting, Oh, you coming to report an unfortunate casualty? That would be, in that case, you having the glasses would be the casualty. Does that mean Shiro doesn't like her with glasses? I could understand the sentiment. I don't think she looks the best with glasses, but...
ああ、これ細かい作業の時にかけるだけだから気にしないで。
Oh, these? I only put them on when I do detailed work, so don't worry about it. What was the detailed work you're doing exactly? What detailed work? Is she dodging? Because if that's true, then she should be taking them off before we go to, meet up with Ilya and Berserker. Maybe she's dodging because she doesn't want to admit that she normally wears contacts and she doesn't have any contacts at Shiro's place. I don't like glasses ring because it means exposition incoming. I mean, I guess it fits her teacher persona, but she's been a teacher before. What has she got to do that's so precise? Has she already done it? Is she doing it more? What are we doing? I thought we were going out. Are we talking strategy first? Well, I guess it's alright if you say so. What kind of magic is it? It looks so wrong and yet so right. I'm more on the wrong side personally, but... What kind of magic? Oh, is that a joke? You think you're like, oh, it's not really magic, but you're like, what kind of magic makes her look so different with glasses on? It looks so wrong and yet so right.
いい？私たちが向かうのは郊外の森。
Did she ever wear glasses in Timeline 1? I don't think so. I think this is new. This is new, right? I believe this is new. Also, wait, we're heading out now? Alright, we're heading to the forest on the outskirts of this town. So, you're lying. You're lying then. I feel like you're a dirty liar, because if you were just doing it for delicate things, you would take them off. So, you actually are just a contact person, and you're lying to hide the fact that you don't like to admit that you wear contacts.
町からはるかに離れた市街。まだ人の手が入っていない広大な樹海よ。
It's a huge woodland, unkempt and far from the city. I don't mind exposition, but I enjoy it more when it's, in kind of like aside things. Like, I could read the exposition of stuff of like, oh, what was Berserker's backstory? We don't have it. But, in theory, I enjoy exposition through side things rather than through main text. Main text exposition is okay sometimes, but when you have too much of it, It just kind of does feel like, all right, and then, all right. It's a huge woodland, unkempt and far from the city. Yeah, character interaction. The best kind of exposition, if they do have to seed it into the main text, is by seeding it through character interaction, and they can exposition it in kind of an interesting way that also reveals something about how the characters interact. Or jokes, or if you could have like a comic relief character that expositions through jokes and you can laugh and also understand at the same time. It's a huge woodland, unkempt and far from the city. Unkempt.
長年人間の介入を拒んできただけあって森は深くて広いわ。年に何人か何の準備もなしに踏み込んで遭難したって話知ってるでしょ？
It's rejected human interaction for a long time, so the forest is big and wide. You know how there are a few people every year that get lost in there for going without any preparations, right? I did not know that, but now you've told me. In Thailand, well, you might have said something like that, actually, after you were escaping the forest. Maybe. Rejected human interaction. Fitting for Elia, I suppose. I mean, unfitting, because she should have it, but, you know, she's not supposed to have it, which is why it's fitting. Ugh. Dash is dash. I nod silently. Oh, okay, he knows. Our destination is the Einsburns Villa that is said to be somewhere in that forest. I mean, Rin told you it was somewhere in that forest, but I guess you just knew about the forest, but didn't know about the Einsburn because you knew about the Einsburn. Well, I guess she didn't say her name in this timeline. Or did she? I don't remember. Wait, she did. Hold on. No, it's Iliasville von Einsburn. Maybe she didn't, but Rin knew it anyway. Sure knew it anyway? Whatever. Our destination is the Einsburn Villa that is said to be somewhere in the forest. Our fate will be sealed the instant our negotiations fail and we end up fighting. Well, given that the title of the day is Verse Berserker, that will probably happen to some extent. Unless it's like, Caster has a flashback where she's versing Berserker. It's a bit of a stretch, but maybe. We won't be able to call for help, and it'll be difficult to run away. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, you could, like... running away is probably not an option, but maybe if you could use your... Wait, command spells aren't a thing. Maybe you could... Before you alliance with Ilia, you could first backup alliance with someone else to make sure that when you do go for your actual alliance, you don't get fucked. No, that's... Yeah, of course, we're going for Ilia. Not necessarily because Berserker is best to get... I mean, that is the reason, but also Ilia is, like, the easiest one to alliance with at this point, so it's kind of hard to... So you have to go in with confidence, basically. We cannot escape that forest unless we defeat that giant, Berserker. And if you defeat Berserker, then at that point, there's not even much point to the alliance anymore. Not saying Ilia isn't strong, but I don't think she can help against, 3.5 servants. So we cannot escape that forest unless we defeat that giant, Berserker. Another caster flashback in the same day. Sure, they could do it. I could see it. Maybe at the end of the day. Maybe they'll cap the day. They start the day with a caster flashback. Maybe they transition into a caster flashback at the end of the day. I could see it happening. I could also see the stage as being fully focused on Ilia and Berserker because it's been so long, but...
じゃあ、そろそろ行きましょう。
Then let's get going.
徹夜して場所に当たりはつけといたから、うまくすれば半日ぐらいで見つけられるはずよ。
I stayed up all night figuring out where it could be, so we should be able to find it within half a day if we're lucky. Oh, where the mansion, you mean? Like, you don't know its location, but you know it should be somewhere in the forest. You tried to pinpoint where a mansion would be if you were a mansion builder in the forest? Okay, that's not bad. I can understand that. I assume you would have had, a few different options. Half a day? Okay. I don't know how big the forest is, but I can respect that, and that's why you had the glasses on? Alright. Okay, fair. That's a good use of your time, Rin. Good job. That means you're very determined. You're not just going through the motions. You had to be very determined to do that. But are you very determined just for Shiro's sake? No, probably for your own sake, unless you really are shaken that much by Shiro Archer. But again, there's the debate that maybe she's determined to believe that Archer Shiro is is doing it for the greater good somehow, and so that's why she's staying determined, because Shiro from the future past is determined, and then Shiro from the past got her to redetermine during the pep talk. So double Shiro encouragement. Anyways, should be able to find it within half a day if we're lucky.
とりあえず国道までは車を使うからタクシー代用意しといて。
We'll take a cab as far as the highway, so get some money ready. Well, cab would be faster than bus, I suppose, and if you're trying to be urgent. Oh, cabs are expensive, though. So, Shiro, I hope you're a little stocked up. I don't think all this Shiro can beat her. Probably take a few life if he goes row, fight the power. I think it's debatable if Archer was full power when he fought Berserker. I think at full power, Archer might be more of a match for Berserker, but Shiro is definitely not even close to full power Archer. So there's definitely no way, I think, even if Shiro goes row, he might take a couple lives, yeah, but I would agree. He can't fully win. I'll take a cab as far as the highway, so get some money ready. She starts walking with a big bag in her hand. What's with the bag? Negotiation tools? Or healing stuff for Shiro in case he needs to heal on the fly? I follow her with the usual Shinai bag in mind. Maybe some jewels. But Tosaka, money for the cab is fine. Does that mean we'll be walking back on the way home? No, you can ride on Berserker's back on the way home. Alright, here we go, back in this forest. We rode the taxi for an hour from the town. Oof. That sounds a little pricey, but I don't know what your prices are like up in Japan, but, you know, over here, gosh, unless you're super urgent, I would just always go bus. It's slower, but, those taxi prices. We rode the taxi for an hour from the town. I suppose also because this place is near a forest, you might have to walk for a long point anyways, even from the nearest bus stop. That's probably true. We drove on the highway past many mountains and reached the entrance to the forest. Yeah, maybe there wasn't actually a bus stop for a while given its location. That could be a fair point. That's some good water. But we know wise fool at this point that Shiro wouldn't want to snipe Ilya because Archer is Shiro, and Archer wouldn't want to snipe because Archer is Shiro, and Archer is biased for the the damsels in distress, and in his mind, Ilya is always the biggest damsel in the biggest distress. We drove on the highway past many mountains and reached the entrance to the forest. Of course, the forest does not have any paved roads. We finally reached the entrance to the forest after walking about 1 kilometer from the highway. Oh, so you had to walk for a while even after getting off from the taxi. So yeah, taxi's probably correct in this situation because the nearest bus stop is probably forever away. Fair. Rip wallet, but fair. Dash. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I got nervous once I actually faced it. The forest is dark even though it's daytime. Really, the forest looks a little brightish to me here. I mean, I guess it's kind of gray, but you can see the light shining through. The tall branches block off the sunlight, and it's hard to see more than a few meters ahead, let alone to the end. Yeah, they don't block off the sunlight completely, but okay.
ちょっとシロ、悪いけど先に進んでみてくれない？
Shiro, can you walk ahead for a bit? Oh, you took off your glasses. Okay. It's kind of weird seeing you with those glasses and taking them off. Interesting. So yeah, she did take them off because she was using them for the thing she did, but, interesting bit of characterization. I wonder, so it's not like those were, random glasses that... Interesting, okay. It's interesting that those aren't just random glasses that she had to wear because she was forced to wear glasses because she had no contacts or whatever, but rather those are seemingly glasses she sometimes just wears whenever she's doing delicate work like that, which still suggests, you know, her eyes are maybe not quite as good as someone like Shiro with his perfect Archer level vision. But, but it still suggests that those are her normal glasses, which is interesting because they're definitely not the most fashionable of glasses. So maybe there's some kind of memento in some way of something. Or she has weird fashion sense when it comes to... Well, I mean, her fashion sense normally, is fine, but the glasses is an interesting choice. It makes me wonder if there's some special reason, or if the narrative is just making fun of itself, being like, haha, Rin chose dumb glasses, that's funny. It could just be, haha, Rin chose dumb glasses, that's funny. Because as far as mementos from people go, she already has her pendant from her father. I don't know, maybe those are her mother's dorky glasses. I don't think the government wants a bus stop near a forest where people go missing. Very fair point. Shiro, can you walk ahead for a bit? Why do you want me walking ahead? As bait?
いいけど、あの子の居場所を知ってるのは遠坂なんだろ？俺が先に行っても仕方がないと思うわ。
Fine, but you're the one who knows where she could be, right? I think it'll do no good if I go ahead. Are you a little scared, Rin? Are you wanting to rely on him for his protection? Because, Archer would normally be the one in front of you protecting you, and Shiro is Archer. So maybe you're just like, you feel more comfortable that way. I could definitely see it. Because you're without your regular Archer. Shishiro needs to be your Archer right now. And your confidence is maybe in a little shaky position without having Archer here. I could see that being the reason. I complain as I enter the forest. Or, maybe he really is just bait, but, then... What was that? I felt the shock! Is this bait? Is there a trap? Was he bait? I pull back my foot. I only felt the shock for an instant. It's not that strong, so it'd hurt more if I hit my foot on the corner of a dresser. Which I think he did when he was waking up in Tosaka's room the one time. When he knocked the pendant off. Okay, so this is Ilya's boundary field, right? So she just sensed you guys entering, I would assume. Well, in short, it was like static electricity. If it's not Ilya's field, then maybe it's related to the fact that you're taking on the Archer. But it would, timing-wise, make sense for it to be Ilya's field.
やっぱり識別だけだろうけど、森全体に管理が行き届いてるみたいね。
I thought so. I'm sure it's only for identification, but it seems she has the whole forest under her surveillance. Okay, yeah, but so that just means I was fucking bait. I mean, gosh, like, what the fuck? Okay, fair. But what the fuck? It seems it seems she has the whole forest under her surveillance.
ちょっと待て。それまずいんじゃないのか。
Hold on, isn't that bad? Why is it bad? Is there even a point to sneaking? Sneaking up on her and her finding out as we sneak up on her would be worse. It's better to just be kind of open about it, because we kind of just have to beg or have some plan for why she should join us if we're not begging. Probably a plan. The backup plan would be begging. I don't know if Rin would want to beg. Rin might beg for Shiro's sake. Shiro might beg for Rin's sake. Shiro'd be the more likely one to give in and beg, I guess. But, hopefully it won't come to that. Hold on, isn't that bad? Unless, of course, again, Shinji and Gilgamesh are already caught up in this situation. Then definitely begging shouldn't have to come into the equation.
要するに防犯ベルに引っかかったってことだろ。
That means we got caught in an alarm, right? If Shinji and Gilgamesh aren't around, I think there's a pretty high chance we might have to resort to begging.
なら
Then...
別に問題ないんじゃない？私たちは奇襲に来たわけじゃないもの。話し合いに来たんだから、むしろ今からアピールしておいた方が得でしょ？
Agreed. I don't think it'll be a problem. We didn't come here for a surprise attack. We came to talk. It would be in our favor to let them know we're coming. I do agree with that. Hidden Ayako route. Oh, really? How do I don't want to overwrite my Hidden Ayako route. No. Surprise conversation. Instead of a surprise attack, it's a surprise conversation. You never expected that one. Ah! Okay, we're gonna take an intermission here, so let's do that.
あ、一応気をつけろよ。ちょっとビリッとくるから。
Oh, be careful though, it'll shock you a bit. Will it shock you, or did it only shock Shiro? Maybe it only shocked Shiro because Shiro took the shock. It doesn't shock Rin.
分かってる分かってる。シロの見てたからどんなものか分かってるって。
I know. I can tell how bad it is by looking at you. You had me beat bait. That really is our freaking dynamic, isn't it? You're just freaking taking your power top position. You know Shiro has slight death wish problems, you know, just a little bit. So you should be careful with that. Be careful with giving him pain, because he kind of likes it. You shouldn't like it. That's unhealthy. Also, he's got Avalon, so he heals better, so you might take more damage than he did. She waves her hand and steps into the forest. Well, you take on the pain he has, though. That's fair. You don't, you know, she doesn't rile in the pain I have, despite making the face that would normally be, haha, you had pain and that's funny. She stepped into the pain along with me and just took it. And that's, I think, more respectable. Then... No, okay, that's the joke. That's the joke. She thought it would... Okay, it's the reverse. Normally that's the face she makes when she's like, haha, I'm making fun of your pain. Instead, they reversed it, which is fitting with her mental state, her character. She hasn't made that face in a while. Maybe her trying to get back in her regular groove. But it's fitting and shows that she's off her groove, that she makes that face when instead of being the one making fun of the pain, she ends up being the one that gets the pain and gets made fun of. Ukya. Tosaka jumps back with a funny scream. Wow. I hear fire hissing. Fire! Maybe the idea is that... Okay, one idea is that Shiro is just less damaged by it because, you know, he's strong. The other idea is that, you know, Ilia Jelly, she wants Shiro to come in so that she can, you know, have her man toy Shiro. But, you know, she's like, ew, Rin cooties, keep her away. I want to believe it's my imagination that the leaves under Tosaka's feet are scorched. Maybe I'm the one who has to negotiate. Rin with her cooties has to stay away.
個人差がある警報みたいだな。俺には挨拶程度だったけど。
I guess there's personal differences on the alarm. It was light in my case. I calmly analyze the situation. She's gonna be mad that you're being calm about it. Even though she's exactly the type that would be calm about it if you took the freaking... Maybe not in this situation, because now she's really, you know, openly gushing about you, but... Oh, is she laughing? Do you find it funny? Have you lost it? Are you... Okay, is that like a like pain or a ku? The laughing cuckoo is just in my head because letting Cheryl fire first backfired. Yeah. Maybe it's the first person who goes is actually light, second person's more painful. That's also possible. But it also makes sense that it's just based on the person and what Ilya feels about them. Although cuckoo has a laugh is kind of in my head because I'm reading liar game, and that's generally translated as cuckoo when they laugh. But it doesn't seem like Tosaka is listening to me. Yeah, it could definitely be coughing. Cuckoo as a laugh is just in my head because I've been reading Liar Game. Cuckoo.
やってくれるじゃないあのガキ。今笑ったの確かに聞こえたんだから。
Was he really laughing? Hold on. No way. I don't believe it, because that would be huge. Tosaka jumps back with a funny scream. Oh, well, it was funny. Okay, he thinks it's funny. Wow, I hear fire hissing. I guess there's personal difference in alarm. It was light in my case. Maybe he's laughing internally, but not laughing out loud. Still, if he was laughing out loud, that would be a big deal. That does it, kid. I heard you laughing. I think Ilya just wants to learn more about Kiritsugu compared to Rin, who's just another Magi. Learning about Kiritsugu, if she's had time to settle, based on Timeline 1, you know, she had to see Shiro, I think, near death to be like, oh wait, maybe I like Shiro. Timeline 2, she hasn't had that yet. I do think she wants to have her way with Shiro somewhat. Whether or not she wants to learn more about Shiro is, I think, debatable, but yeah, kid. I heard you laughing. Shiro hasn't outwardly laughed yet, but that would certainly be progress if he did. Also, if he was enjoying the situation, that's kind of fitting because you've enjoyed his pain in the past. As long as they mutually enjoy each other's pain, is it funny? It's not huge pain, I understand that, but still, even the minor pain. Yeah, it is interesting that she went and said kid, though. Maybe because she thinks of herself as the top, so she doesn't want to call him Shiro when she's in a clear bottom position. So she's like, you're not my Shiro. My Shiro wouldn't laugh at me, so you're just a kid. Baby. Tosaka yells into the empty sky. Maybe she means me. I was laughing at her. Maybe I'm younger than her at heart. She's so angry that she might go to fight instead of talk. Oh, wait. Oh, she was maybe talking about Ilya. She was like, she meant Ilya as the kid, and she was just talking to Ilya from far away, like, I know you're laughing about that. Like, okay, I can understand that perspective as well. But, no, she means me, for sure, yeah. I am laughing. She's so angry that she might go fight instead of talk. Well, anyway. It seems talking bad about Tosaka is fatal no matter how far away you are from her. So I guess I'll refrain from doing so. She knows. She always knows. But instead of sneezing, she skips the sneezing and just gets angry right away. We walk into the forest. We're the only people in this vast place. I don't hear any beasts, and the grasses are dead like corpses. The endless rows of trees make me think this forest goes on forever. Normally I find forest imagery rather pleasant, but when it's like dead like this, it's just rather sad. It's been 3 houses. That's how I read it initially. It's been 3 houses since we entered. That was the first house. That was the second house. That was the house where I had dragon sex with Saber in Timeline 1. Do you count those as houses? Just as their surroundings start to blur together. Oh, is this when we find the house? That I had dragon sex with Saber in? Or do we find the mansion?
見つけた。
Found it. A good defense, just make it forever to reach your base. Yeah. They'll tire themselves out walking there. Oh, and then when they take a second to break, that's when you ambush something on them. I don't know if Ilya's got much for ambushes. Based on Timeline 1, she just came at us with Berserker. Then again, maybe that's because it was Shiro and she wants to fight Shiro personally. Maybe for other people she has actual, like, I'll fight the intruder type thing, so she just doesn't want to use on Shiro. That's also possible. Found it.
聞いてはいたけど呆れたわ。本気でこんなところにあんなものを建てるなんて。
Jeez, I'm still stunned even though I knew about it. They really did build something like that in such a place. Indeed they did. I follow Tosaka's stare. There's only darkness ahead. Is it like covered in a darkness field? Between the trees. There is something unbefitting of these surroundings, visible through a crack so small that you'd miss it if you weren't careful. But you, Shiro, you have the good eyesight. And Rin is careful.
なんだあれ壁か
What is that? Is that a wall?
壁よ。まったくどうかしてるわ。あれ、自分たちの国から丸ごと持ってきたものよ。
You know, it's just a casual portable mansion. No big deal. It's a wall. Geez, what's up with them? They brought that whole thing from their country? Well, based on what your father said, this is just a thing they have here for, the occasional Grail Wars. They have a base set up here because they normally don't live here. Do you mean they brought, like, some kind of defensive wall from their country? Because, as far as bringing the whole thing from the country, I assume they built it here, unless they have magic that teleports it here. Like, it's like some kind of magic circle that switches the location of the whole building. That's some pretty powerful magic. That's practically sorcery at that point. Tosaka complains and heads to the strange object we can see in the distance. I still can't tell what it is, so I follow her. Magnificent mansion indeed. Oh. But does it have 9 sides? Because if it does, it's more like a tower, if you know what I mean. I don't think the Einsteins are powerful enough to teleport. I mean, you know, if anyone is, I think Einsteins are up there. They seem, you know, pretty elitist as far as magic families go, but I still can't tell what it is, so I follow her. Castor was remarked as exceptional as just teleporting a few meters in her own base. Yeah, that's true. But maybe teleporting people is harder than teleporting objects. I can see logic in that because, you know, if you teleport a person after the fact, they might, what's the Harry Potter term? They might spritz, they might goop, they might go. But when you teleport objects, maybe it's safer. I think there's some logic there potentially. We get out of the forest. The endless forest quickly ends. That's not how endless works. You gotta rethink your definitions from the dictionary. No, it seems like the forest is scooped out here with a big spoon. Yummy. The sky curving above us is gray. A giant dome. A giant boundary field? Bounded field? Whatever. It seems like I still don't know which is correct. Is it boundary or bounded? Every time they say it, I'm like, oh, of course. And then I forget. It seems more like an underground kingdom than a clearing. But you're not underground if you ignore the gray sky. Nice. Is this our first time seeing it from the outside? This is Eliasville's dwelling. We were from the inside last time, but we might have gotten out fast enough that we never took a second to look back. I at least don't remember this image of it. But it definitely looks befitting of the Einsteins. The VN has boundary, newer shit has bounded. Okay. I'm not crazy then. I probably got bounded from watching the Fate Zero anime, and then this has boundary. Probably. This is Eliasville's dwelling. An old castle built within the forest. But how old is it? Assuming it was at least here for the last war. Maybe it was built the war before that. There's been like 5 wars, so maybe it was built for the 3rd war or 2nd war. I don't think it would be built for the 1st war because, you know, that's not how time works. Definitely for the 2nd war, though, if there's like 30-year breaks. Although they might not have expected the 2nd war. At the very least, I think by the 3rd war. Once they saw it happen twice, they're probably like, oh yeah, there'll be a 3rd. An old castle built within the forest. A solitary castle without any visitors. Too big for one girl. Not to mention too desolate for anyone to live alone in. You'd think that, but she basically lives alone. I think she's got like, what, 2 servants and that's it? I think she, even when she was not here, I think even when she was living at her own place elsewhere, I assume it was elsewhere, or was it just here, even in Fate Zero? I don't remember. Even if she wasn't living here, she was still living alone. No, she wasn't living here, because she was living in a colder place. It was more wintry, right? I think that is a correct statement. But either way, she's living basically alone aside from when she was with her parents somewhat, you know, before that came to an unfortunate end. Too big for one girl, not to mention too desolate for anyone to live in alone. Dash, dash. Anyway, it does no good to be standing here. According to Tosaka, Eliasville knows we're here. I wonder if Shinji and Gilgamesh, I was just thinking if they were involved, Rin would have said something by now. Rin would have been like, there's a presence. But they haven't done that, so maybe they aren't involved. I just assumed for sure they would be, but yeah, I guess maybe I'm speaking too soon. We should go in from the front entrance as a sign that we're not here to fight. Shiro's big brother instincts kicking the back of his mind. Of course. He's always got to be Ilya's Oni-chan. Always and forever.
Yoshi, 行くぞ, Tosaka. って, Tosaka?
Let's go, Tosaka. Tosaka? What happened to Tosaka? What happened to... That's a reference meme, right? What happened to Torcus? That's what was in my mind. Okay. Who poisoned your mutton? Tosaka's looking up at the castle with an alarmed expression. Oh, maybe now's when you're like, someone else is here. because Shinji and Gilgamesh are here? Her face is tense as if she's confronting an enemy. Is the enemy Shinji or Gilgamesh, or you don't know? Or are you prepared for an Ilya fight? But you wouldn't have been coming here prepared for an Ilya fight unless there's some kind of weird energy in the air and you're like, maybe Ilya wants to fight.
遠坂、気になるもんでもあったのか?
Tosaka, is there something wrong?
私たち以外に
Alright.
誰かいる。
I was correct then. Shinji and Gilgamesh shall be here. Dorks is mutton? That's the reference you're going with? Yeah, that was the reference that came to mind, so it's the one I said. I mean, it could have been a different reference, but that's the one that came to mind. I can't blame my own mind for doing references. Because, like, the wording was, Tosa, you know, her face is tense. What happened to Tosa? Yeah, that's where our mind went. I can't help it. Maybe you thought I was thinking of a different reference, but I wasn't. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's someone else besides us here.
そりゃいるだろう。イリアってことバーサーカーの住処なんだから。
Of course. This is where Ilya and Berserker live. That's not all. Some kind of Cold War with Shinji and, maybe some kind of Cold War with Shinji and Gilgamesh where they're, like, hiding out in separate rooms and they've, boarded themselves up. Ilya and Berserker should still be around, or Rin would be more freaked out, I would say. Maybe Ilya might act as a hostage? No. Even if that was true, Gilgamesh would just go ahead and kill Berserker. Gilgamesh is rather smart, but Shinji's pretty stupid, so... I assume there's a Cold War, but I could be wrong. Unless there's an ongoing war that we just happen to walk into, but that's very convenient timing.
そうじゃなくて、それ以外の誰かってことよ。シロ、こっちから入るわよ。
That's not what I mean. There's someone else other than that. We're going in this way, Shiro. Mm-hmm.
ちょっとお前。
Wait! Okay, I'd say they got kind of lucky, actually, that they ran into this situation, because I think... I've said this before, but, I do think that given the circumstances, Ilya, would still be pretty, you know, thou art above thou. She might have still cooperated with them, but they would have definitely been working for her, rather than working with her. And, you know, I think her trust would have been very tenuous. At least at first. Maybe if she got to talking to Shiro a little bit, that might change things. Because, you know, they have some good chemistry. But Gil's whole goal is getting Ilya. If they get her as a hostage, they'd be gone. I mean, that's true. I was thinking, like, yeah, what's the point of getting her as a hostage? I said that, and then I'm like, wait, what would the point be? And I couldn't think of one. But there could be one, I don't know, maybe there's one I'm not thinking of, but that's why I'm like, no, it's probably just a Cold War. Unless they've been fighting all night. Wait! Maybe hostage because he sensed Shiro coming close, so just as he was about to beat Ilya, he's like, wait, let's not take her out just yet. Or something. Then why don't you take up Berserker is still the question in my mind, because I feel like they can't be taking up Berserker, because they've definitely heavily implied that we're going to have Berserker on our side to fight Castor. Certainly be a missed potential if they don't do that at this point. Kurosaka starts running towards a big tree by the wall, and I don't have time to stop her. No, that's not all. She grabs onto a branch and skillfully climbs up. Oh yeah, parkour! Look at you, Rin, doing your cool athletics jutsu. Which you do push-ups a whole bunch, so it makes sense that you're this athletic. Dash. But Shiro, you've been, you know, doing a bunch of, you know, lifting at your jobs, and you also have been doing your magical training and your sword training, so you're pretty hefty too. You'd probably have better arm strength to climb, even if she could. She would maybe parkour a bit more, but you would have the strength to maybe just naturally climb. I look up in astonishment. God, she's hot. Tosaka looks around and... Oh, no, he's not focused on how hot she is. Wow. He's actually, his head is in the game. She jumps and kicks at the castle. Really? No plan survives contact with Tosaka Rin. Given that she's kind of a speed chesser, makes sense. But, she kicks at the castle. Don't you think it's gonna make noise? Maybe you sense a presence at the entrance. Maybe you sense that Shinji, is at a... Maybe Gilgamesh is a bit of a Cold War with Berserker. But maybe Berserker is in the other end, and Shinji and Gilgamesh are towards the front. And so that's why we don't want to go in the front, possibly. Still, though, this is going to make noise. I know it's a large place, but it should still alert people in somewhat of a close by. She jumps and kicks at the castle. A shattering sound. The window breaks and the red figure disappears into the castle. I guess Shiro's gotta follow after her. Hopefully she doesn't get cut up by that. I would assume Rin's practiced something like that, you know, knows how to tuck and roll, knows how to avoid the glass, because, you know, it's possible if you do that in the wrong way, you're gonna get cut up and really badly.
ほら早く。本気でおかしいわよこの城。
Come on, there's something seriously wrong with this castle. Okay.
もう話し合いをするんじゃなかったのかよ。
Weren't we here to talk? Also, I just noticed Rin just dropped the Shiro. They left it out of the text, but she definitely dropped the Shiro. Weren't we here to talk? You were, but, you know, people that you're not going to be talking with are here too. Well, you might talk with them, but based on the fact that it's Shinji, I don't think the talk's going to be very pleasant. Maybe with Gilgamesh, maybe there's something there. You might be able to grow a temporary alliance because he might be like, oh, sure, I'll get Saber back for you, but... Glass immunity cantrip? What's done is done. I climb up the tree and jump into the second floor window like Tosaka. But this time I caught myself up badly. Ooh, I think we haven't had a shot of this hallway before. We've seen Ilia's room, and then we've seen, like, the exit entryway that we were about to go into, but then we, you know, didn't go into. We enter the hallway. Even before I'm dazzled by the magnificence of the castle, I sense the abnormality Tosaka is talking about. You sense it? Is there, like, an extra boundary field hold up? Maybe that's how they're in a Cold War, is that set up, like, a second boundary field. So there's, like, a battle of the fields. Oh, no, they're just fighting. I hear sounds of fighting. Okay, they're just having a regular fight. Cool, cool. Gilgamesh is pretty dang strong. Berserker, though, is also, in raw strength, the best. I feel like Gilgamesh could normally just win a fight like this. But, you know, Ilia is definitely a better master than Shinji, so maybe it evens out a bit, depending on the circumstances. Also, this is home field advantage, maybe? Or maybe I'm underestimating Berserker, and he can actually hold his own against Gilgamesh in close-range combat. I mean, I think he can, I just think Gilgamesh could outsmart and win, but Gilgamesh might just be enjoying it, and so might not be going for a quick win. Swords clashing against each other. They also do say that, you know, they did say that no two ways can ever kill Berserker at the same time, but Gilgamesh has plenty of weapons at his disposal. Swords crashing against each other. But would such a storm-like battle even be possible? Even the most fierce battle of swords, the battle between Berserker and Saber, did not create such sounds. For a second, I'm like, did you remember the other timeline? No, they did have a battle between Saber and Berserker in this timeline. No, because this one, it's like, you know, Gilgamesh really does have a storm of swords, and then Berserker, he basically is a storm with a sword. Oh! Then I suddenly realized, this isn't the sound of swords crashing. This is one against many. There's literally a war going on somewhere in this castle. Could it be a Holy Grail war? It kind of is, because Ilia's like the Grail. Then a decent fight with Gil as a storm. Yeah, pretty much. One side has to be Ilias Veal. So what? You're going to assume the other side is probably Lancer. By personal elimination, for your perspective, it should be Lancer, but it's not. It could have been, though. I originally thought that Lancer was going to be Shinji's new servant, but again, Lancer would have never come up with the idea to, hey, let's go after Ilias Veal, because he would have not known that shit. Unless Carrie told him, but Carrie doesn't tell him anything. One side has to be Ilias Veal. This is Ilias Veal's castle. If there's a battle here, it could only be Berserker attacking the intruding enemy. That's true, that's true. From a certain perspective, Shiro could think that maybe Caster sent an enemy against Berserker. It's a bit of a quick turnaround, but it's certainly possible Caster sent someone like Assassin here to take out Berserker, from Shiro's perspective. I feel like Caster would send Saber, so Caster would want to, you know, prep Saber a bit more. But it's possible someone like Assassin or even Archer was sent to fight Berserker. Unlikely, though. Caster definitely seemed like she was banking on Saber for that. And, you know, Shiro's already said how this doesn't sound like a Saber Berserker battle, so. Can only be Berserker attacking the intruding enemy. I run. Oh! Sounds are getting fiercer. The sound is coming from below us. It's on the first floor. Oh, it was in the entryway. So it's not a Cold War. It's an actual war that I guess has been going on for a long time. Maybe Gilly's killed him a couple times, but he's mostly enjoying, you know, he's savoring it. Shinji's being a coward, probably. I wonder if Ili and Shinji are having a kind of fight, or if they're both just standing back. If they were having any kind of fight, I would assume Ili would win that, but... Assassin brought the whole temple with him. Had to shove it in the door sideways. Yeah, Shiro's got to go save his little sister. Indeed. The sound is coming from below us. So yeah, if they had walked in the front entranceway, they might have just got caught up in the middle, so... Still though, wait, if it's in the entrance floor, wouldn't they have heard it? It seemed more like Ren was sensing the presence. So unless there's like a soundproof castle, I assume it's not in the entryway. I assume it's a little... It might be soundproof from the inside. Maybe that's the point, is it's soundproof so to protect from, you know... But maybe you can hear it. Can you have a one-way soundproof? How does soundproof work? Could you make it so you can hear stuff from the outside, but they can't hear from the inside? Maybe it's just far enough away. Maybe the castle's just big enough. Anyways, the sound is coming from below us. Considering the location we came in from, the battle's happening right in the center of the castle, in the guest hall. Okay, so it's not right in the entryway. Right in the center of the castle, the guest hall. I run through... How do you know it's a guest hall? Did Rin... Maybe Rin gave you the lowdown of what all the rooms were beforehand. That's fair. But, Rin is able to soundproof a room, so that's been established already. Maybe... Okay, with boundary fields, you can probably make a one-way soundproof. That's true. Can you do it with real things, though? That's what I'm wondering. I don't actually know. Let me Google it. Can you one-way soundproof? I don't actually know the answer to the question. Physics tricks could make for one-way soundproofing. Materials that genuinely discriminate between the direction of light or sound might be possible, according to a new study from 2011. That could make for true one-way mirrors or for directional soundproofing. Does soundproof work both ways? In soundproofing is isolating sounds from each other, so the bottom line is that almost all soundproofings will work both ways. Decoupling is designed to isolate the sound side while adding that. Can room be... Okay. So it seems like most soundproofing is both ways. How would Rin know the castle's layout? That's a good question. I think it would have to be a big guess. You're right. Oh, wait, we're dropping. Good thing that I was looking stuff up. That's a good question. Considering the location we came in from, the battle is happening right in the center of the castle, in the guest hall. How would Shiro know that? He could know that from Timeline 1 when he was running away, but based on his Timeline 2 knowledge, unless Rin somehow, you know, did some guesswork, Shiro, this seems like it might be some internal stuff work. But Daddy Tosaga, here are the blueprints for the castle, just in case. How does he get a hold of those blueprints, though? Like, you know, just because he's like, there's a rumored castle. By the way, here's a complete blueprints for the rumored castle. It's possible. Like, but if she didn't know where it actually was, I suppose he could have had the blueprints and found out about them, and he didn't know exactly where it was. But yeah, that does seem a little iffy. Things to think of. We are dropping frames a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of bit. So I'll go ahead and make a save here. We're in an unfamiliar castle. Oh boy. It's unfamiliar. But we know it's the guest room. Could be a guess. Based on normal mansion construction. But this is the Einburns. They wouldn't have a Japanese type mansion that Shiro would be used to anyway. Exclamation point. Is that allowed? I can make a save point that long. I love it. Oh boy, it's unfamiliar. But we know it's the guest room. Could be a guess based on normal mansion construction. But this is the Einsburns. They wouldn't have a Japanese type mansion. Shiro would be used. I love it. I love it. Cancel. Back. Did we stop dropping? I think we stopped dropping. Good news, everyone. Wait, bad news. Good news? Decent news. I have to pee anyways. I didn't pee during my last break. It's actually pretty good right now. It's been good for the last, minute. Cool. Anyways. Where else would the guest area be but in the middle of the first floor? I have no idea. I don't know how mansions like this are constructed. Maybe Shiro knows. I have no idea. Anyways, I run through the unfamiliar castle. This isn't the time to be talking. I don't know what's going on, but something terrible is happening. I run down the stairs. Oh boy, first floor, and yet I feel like, did they reuse the hallway? Looks like the same hallway. If it's different, then you could have fooled me. The fierce battle is happening nearby. That's usually how it works, yeah. The fierce battle is usually... the closer you get, the closer it is. Maybe I'm making a joke out of nothing. I'm actually stalling. I was checking how my frames were dropping while I do that, you know. Just a little bit of a look behind the curtain is that, you know, if you think I might be stalling, I'm probably stalling. I'm probably checking something and then continuing to talk and pretending like it's a natural part of the commentary. The fierce battle is happening nearby. It's definitely a difference between when I record and I stream. I don't stall like that when I would record, for example. If there's something I have to check, I just check it, of course. But when I'm streaming, I like to always have the constant flow. So if I'm checking something, I multitask and pretend I'm just doing some of my bullshit commentary. It's something I don't really do when I record, but... Anyways, alright, this place is connected to the stairwell down to the hall. I think some of my stalling is subtle, to be honest, but some of it's on the nose. Like when I admitted it was stalling, that was not very subtle. This place is connected to the stairwell down the hall. Or down to the hall. Tosa confirms what's down the hallway. Oh boy. The hallway splits at a T-junction. Also, now she's... Wait, this place is connected to the stairwell down to the hall. Okay, so I think Rin does know. Rin got the blueprints from her father. I think that's the answer here. Because she seems to just know. Or she's the one who's familiar with these kind of mansions. Tosa confirms what's down the hallway. The hallway splits at a T-junction, both branches leading to a terrace at either side of the hall. Okay. That's scary. Aren't we better when we, like, team up? I mean, I don't know about you, but I think Shiro's gonna be all scared if you try to do your own thing. Because Shiro's gonna want to do the protect you thing. Let's part here. I'll go from this side, and you go from that side. The real question is why there's windows on both sides of the hallway. Courtyard would be my assumption. Is that there's, like, yeah, split up. Best option in D&D. If there's... Probably on the left side, the windows are actually leading outside. On the right side might be courtyard windows, possibly, if this place has a courtyard. You know, fancy mansions sometimes do. You know, it's also got forest. It's a nice foresty area. I mean, it's not a nice foresty area, but in theory it could be a nice foresty area. And, you know, if it's... Maybe it's dead forest on the outside because the pretty forest is only on the courtyard on the inside. Could be. Assume a courtyard, yeah. This is one of those examples of me stalling because I'm noticing that my frames are dropping like crazy now. We're going to be more familiar with Western architecture. Yeah, that's also true. So it makes sense she might be guessing based off that and not Shiro. But yeah, we were not really bad. Now we're really bad again. Just something I thought I'd throw out there. Let me go one line further. I'm going to go one line further. Let's part here. I'll go from this side. So you go back. You go from that side. It's better to split up. Really? Is that your opinion? It's better to split up. I'm surprised that Shiro doesn't want to stay with Rin. Maybe because his mind is on protecting Ilya, the big brother instinct, that he is willing to do it. It's just interesting that I feel like he'd be so focused on protecting Rin, but I guess he feels that Rin is in a healthy state after what happened recently, and she's sort of the one taking the lead, so if she suggests it, I can understand it. Oh, we're at 0 KBS now. I definitely don't want to continue now. Okay. Wait. Okay. Oh, alright. It waited, but I kind of want to go like one more line, but I don't want to... We're just about to stop, but I want to get to a beat. I feel like, okay, I have to stop based on my frames are dropping, but I want to get to a beat. Please, frames, get me to a beat. I'm going to go a little further. As we are now, we have no way to escape once we're found. That's why it's good to escape? Oh, it's protecting Rin. I understand. I thought you'd want to be with Rin to protect her. Now I get it. You want to split up so you can be the decoy so Rin doesn't get found. Now I see your logic. I see, Shiro. Okay. It's still unhealthy. For a second, I'm like, wait, what? You agree? Weird. There's no point in staying together right now. I mean, if you're found, it's true. There's possibly no escape unless you can side with Berserker, right? I guess in the heat of the fight, they don't know whose side you're on. That's fair, and they can't really, you know, talk it out. They might not be trusted, but you might be able to make a plea and, you know, be okay. It depends on who corners you and what your excuse is. With no servants, 2 of them won't be much more effective than 1. That is true. I can agree to that. However, it's just iffy because if they split up, there's more chance that one of them might get discovered. Whereas if they stay together, like, they either get discovered together. It's like live together, die together. But I think there's like there might even be a metaphor going on here that they're not fully, they're still, you know, they're doing it because of the Grail War, but are they fully committed to each other? Shiro's still not calling Rin. And Rin's still focused on the Grail War. So maybe the metaphor here is they're splitting up and they're not committed to the live together, die together mentality. Or they're trying, they maybe, you know, Shiro might even be like, I'll die, but Rin doesn't have to die if it comes to that. It's just interesting seeing that they're bothering with this split up. They didn't have to put this in the narrative. They could have both shown up. The fact that they're bothering with the split up either says that Shiro needs to meet Ilya alone to convince her and that Rin might get in the way, or it's a metaphor for their, you know, current relationship and that they still feel in some way that they want to go apart when approaching a battle like this. Maybe. There's no point in staying together right now. We don't stand a chance either way. If we're separated, there's hope for the other one to escape, even if one of us is found. You know, that Shiro talk for, there's a chance for Rin to escape if I'm found. That's, yeah, because internally he's like, I'm bad. I might do something stupid and get caught, but I don't want Rin to get caught when I get caught. Makes sense from Shiro's perspective. I think Rin is actually thinking from the perspective of they're both decently competent fighters. It does make sense to flank, but Shiro, you know, I don't think that's his mindset at all. Tosaka walks down the hallway facing east. Dash. I nod and go down the other hallway, the one heading west. I think there's maybe some sense to going both directions because you don't know... I guess if there was a reason to go both directions is because if one of them is on one direction, the other one's on another direction, and one of them you want to be your ally and the other one you don't, you want to not end up on the side that doesn't have your ally. But if you do end up on the side... If you do that logic, though, then one of them is almost certainly going to end up on the side without the ally, which is a risk. I'd argue the better instinct would be to just take one, and if it's not the ally, you have maybe more of a chance with you together to escape to the other side. As opposed to this way, we're almost guaranteed. One of us will run into the ally side, the other one will run into the not ally side. You know, theoretically, if that's what's going on, if there is one side has your ally, one side doesn't. At the moment, neither have your ally. You have to do some convincing, I'm aware, but... Shiro probably recalled back to the church fight when both Archer and Kazuki noticed him. Yeah, he doesn't want to, you know, be Rin's burden. Fair, I suppose. I nod and go down the other hallway, the one heading west.
Shiro.
Oh, she said something, in case something bad happens. Shiro, with the name. She suddenly calls to me. She doesn't want me to do anything stupid, like make myself bait.
わかってるわね。何が起きようと絶対に手は出さないで。 今の私たちに戦う手段はない。
You know, right? Don't do anything. No matter what happens, we have no way to fight right now. Maybe she's worried about Shiro for sure. But I wonder if she's worried about, what will really probably make Shiro move. She might be worried about, I don't know if she's worried about this, but I think this is where it's going to go. She's worried about Shiro doing his whole I have to save everyone shtick. And where he might try to save Ilya. And I do think that's where it's going to go now that she's brought this up. I think almost for sure that's where it's going to go. Unless Rin gets spotted and then he's going to save Rin. But more likely, Ilya's going to get in some kind of danger. Maybe one of them does notice Shiro. Or Ilya even notices Shiro and catches her off guard. And then that gives an opening for Gilgamesh. Or this is just a winning fight in general for Gilgamesh. And Shiro has to step in to help Ilya. I think that is very much a possibility. And is highly probable now that Rin has, said this. We have no way to fight right now. Don't do anything, no matter what happens.
いい？やばいと思ったらすぐに逃げるのよ。どちらかが捕まっても構わず走って。誰かを助けるなんて、まず自分を助けてから考えることなんだから。
Run away if you think it's dangerous. Run away even if one of us gets caught. Saving others comes after you save yourself. You can say that. I don't think Shiro's gonna acquiesce to that. If you get in trouble, he will save you. If Ilya gets in trouble, he's probably going to try to save her too. So you saying this doesn't mean much? I understand the strategical merits to what you're saying, but I'd argue you're just looking out for Shiro and you understand that Shiro's the kind of person that would just try to save others, given that he saved you despite how reckless that was and could have turned out really badly. But it's just in his nature. And so I don't believe he's going to change that now. Run away even if one of us gets caught. Maybe you're saying that maybe Rin is actually being the hypocrite here. That's possible, where she has a plan where if something goes bad, she might try to jump in to save someone, but she's like, oh, Shiro, if that happens, you don't jump in, which would be funny. But Shiro would definitely jump in. If anything, he might jump in first. Although that's the two routes they could be taking with this, I feel, is Shiro jumps in to save Ilya, or Rin does the hypocritical thing and jumps in first, and then Shiro's like, you idiot. And of course he would then jump in as well. Don't be bait, don't be a decoy, just don't let yourself die for someone else, even my own sake. Unfortunately, that's not going to get through to Shiro in this situation. I don't believe it. She suppresses her emotions. It sounds more like a wish than a warning. Yeah, probably because she believes that there's no way you'll actually do it. She has to try, though. But yeah, Rin is totally about, I feel like this is reused from Timeline 1 when Berserker fought the other archer. But, Rin is definitely the type who likes to insert herself to battles. Even if they might not be any of her business, she is just, she likes to fight those battles and win those battles. So I could definitely see her jumping in, despite telling Shiro not to jump in. I go around and come out into the terrace. Oh boy. I see Tosaka emerge on the opposite side. Oh boy. She immediately takes cover, then peeks out. As soon as I follow her example and look down, we both gasp.
Shinji, なんだってあいつこんなところに
Shinji, why is he here? Uh-oh! I think that would be less, crazy than seeing an extra servant. Shinji stands atop the rubble in the corner of the room, happily watching the scene. I think that definitely shows that Gilgamesh is winning this fight, so Ilya is probably going to get in danger, and we probably have to save her. Very likely, probably. No. That's not the surprising thing. The surprising thing is the extra servant. What I have to accept right now is the battle Shinji is observing. You get him, Herc. What he said. The black giant lets out a roar. Ah, this is a familiar Gilly song. I don't know if it's Gilly's song, but I think of this as Gilly's song. The swinging axe sword blows up dust and grinds the rubble into powder. The mad warrior appears no different from before. Oh, that means he's doing pretty good, right? But he probably has been killed a few times already. No, his dreadful roar is louder now. Because he's in more danger. Oh, she looks terrified. The girl in white is behind the giant. Yeah, she looks really scared. Okay, that's more or less the situation I expected. It'd be weird for him to have been winning. Ilya is great at planning things ahead, but she has to know. She theoretically knew everything, but she did not know about Gilgamesh and was caught off guard like crazy in Timeline 1, so it makes sense that she'd be caught off guard and unprepared in this Timeline 2, and she doesn't really know how to deal with the situation. She's very bad at dealing with unexpected situations. She's very good at prepping for things and knowing, to not have anything unexpected, but when something unexpected does happen, she is not good at dealing with it. So, this is definitely one of those situations, I would say. Gil's theme playing, that's bad. I like Ghost theme. It's quite enjoyable to my ears. But yeah, we're still dropping like crazy, and I kind of just want to... Okay, show me Gil, and then I'm going to stop. Berserker's Master, Ilyasville. Unless Shiro just tunnel visions and focuses on Ilya and doesn't focus on Gilgamesh, which he could do. Shiro does care a lot about Ilya, so... An ever-smiling girl, unsuited for murder. There's some bias. But... that girl is now shivering and watching her servant with a face almost in tears. He's probably been killed for almost like half of his lives by this point. I don't think all of them. I don't know. I think we might be able to take advantage of some of Berserker's lives. If not, we might save him with only one life left. That's also possible. It means we're not in an overwhelming advantage position. Now watching and shivering. I assume even if we do save Berserker with some of his lives left, it wouldn't be more than maybe 2 backups at most. Watching her servant with a face almost in tears. Her pale face is desperately trying to deny the despair in front of her. Someone help me. Are we going to have to make the choice before we even see Gilgamesh? Is Shiro going to tunnel that hard? He totally is, because he's that, Ilya obsessed at all times, no matter what timeline. He has to be the Oni-chan for Ilya. The girl's trembling lips mouth these words. Oh, Tasukete. Someone help me is a weird thing for someone to say, I feel like, in the middle of nowhere. But help me, just the short help me or Tasukete, I think is more common. Just leave out the someone. Bakana, no way. Show us Gil. A storming whirlwind. You're not gonna show us Gil, you cock tease. You cock tease! He has to be what his father failed to be in all ways? Oh, by doting on Ilya, I suppose. 18,000 drop frames! That's getting bad. I should stop. The only hit point that matters is the last one. Sure. I should stop. But I want to see Gil. Show me Gil! Berserker's axe swords repelled each time. I hear the song. Show him to me. I know he's here. By the noble phantasm of one servant. The one reigning from the throne of rubble in the center of the hall. Ooh, he's in casual clothes. Many swords are released. Okay. He's not even in his fancy golden armor. Really? He was in his fancy golden armor. Wasn't he in his fancy golden armor when they went to the secret Mato place? Because they said he was clad in gold, I believe. Did they just say he had golden hair? I guess he was also in these clothes when we ran into him. Oh, on the Saber date. Was he in these clothes or did he look different? He might have looked different. It was different casual clothes, maybe. It's interesting that he's in his casual clothes. Seeing him like this in a fight is very interesting to me. Casual Gil. Because, like, the only other time I think we've seen him casual... the only other time I think we've seen him casual was on the date with Saber, and I don't remember if he was wearing this clothes or different casual clothes. I want to say there was different casual clothes. It's still interesting. When he looks like this, without his... I'm used to him like with his spiky hair up a little bit, I guess you could say. And so... He looks cool like this. I just, it's kind of, if I didn't know it was Gil, I wouldn't look at this and think, oh, that's Gil. Because I'm pretty sure he shows up at the beginning of the game and talks to Sakura with some private conversation that ran overseas. And I definitely didn't peg that for Gil at the time. I do remember that. But he looks cool. Uh, but yeah, I like the outfit. I like the outfit. Seeing him wear this while he fights is interesting. Maybe it means he's not taking it seriously. Maybe that's the reason that he's wearing these clothes, is that he thinks that, you know, this is beneath him, and he would only wear this maybe he's saving the armor for when he shows up in front of Saber. Or he only wears the armor when he thinks he has to take the situation seriously now, and for him this is just a casual Friday, a casual stroll to get Ilya. His Fate Row casual outfit was a puffy coat, pretending to be rich. Yeah, I'm remembering, I was remembering something like that. I was just like, is that right? Yeah. Exudes confidence without overtrying. Yeah, the other one definitely looked like overtrying. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice outfit. It's interesting. I guess the assumption here is they've been fighting for a long time. Like, a long time. And he's been slowly whittling away at all of Berserker's lives. So Berserker, I think, is possibly on his last one. I think that's a very likely possibility at this point. It would be more dramatically tense if we had a Berserker with 1 life left. There's some narrative intrigue if he has more than 1 life left. But it means we could potentially utilize them. But, you know, it's certainly at its tensest, and Ilya's at her most vulnerable and most in need of saving if Berserker is on his last one, for sure. And with this image of Cool Gil on the attack, it's early, but my frames are dropping. Well, actually, of course they're not dropping right now when I say this. Wait, no, they're dropping again. Just a little bit. Whatever, I am going to stop here because it's a little unstable. But, so, we have a Gil. Where are we? Right, this is a choice, so skip this. Gil built a throne of rubble for him to stand on. It's been that long. Oni-chan. Oh, yeah! Hey, it's fitting. Casual fight, Gil. I like that picture for sure. Anyways, it's early. And of course, as I say this, my frames aren't dropping, but I don't trust it. There's been 20,000 drop frames this stream. Oops! I should try to do something about that before tomorrow, if there is something to be done. It might just be a bad day. It's not a terrible day. That's what makes it so awkward, is it's bad but not terrible, but whatever. I am going to stop here. We will see the actual fight tomorrow, have more time tomorrow anyways, which maybe it's a short thing. I feel like it might just be a short thing, because I think this is the end of the fight, more or less. And we're just going to be saving Berserker. It is interesting. The question is, are we gonna have to convince Gil to leave him alone? Or are we going to have to do some runaway shenanigans? He probably hasn't used Aya yet. Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think Berserker's, you know, that tough for him. So I was right that Gil is basically just winning this fight. I didn't think Berserker was that competent compared to how, you know, OP Gil is. So, yeah, thinking about it, how are we going to exit this situation? Shiro definitely is going to have to step in and save Ilya. There's a couple questions here, I suppose. If we save Berserker as well, which I feel like we have to, I wonder if we need to make some kind of alliance with Gilgamesh as well, or a temporary alliance, or if we have to do an actual distraction. It's possible Shiro could do a distract himself long enough, but if he does, he's going to get super injured. It's possible Gil could leave him alive because he's impressed by how strong Shiro is, but it's unlikely because Gil considers everything beneath him, so I don't know. If he used Aya, there wouldn't be a castle left. Yeah, and on top of that, I doubt he'd still be in casual clothes if he already used his Aya. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Still have an outro phrase. We'll get to see the epic Gil fight, more like slaughter. It seems like he's just about to win. But Ilya seems kind of screwed, and Gil seems super casual, so... And the fact that Shinji seems so casual. Shinji got a servant that he does not deserve. Shinji fucking gets Gilgamesh. That's so stupid still. Oh, it's deserving of the amount of hype he thinks he is. But he is not that much hype. Gil is that much hype. Shinji is not that hype. I feel like Gil's just gonna shank Shinji at some point, right? Is that how it's gonna end? I mean, maybe Gil just goes along with it, and we actually have to beat Gil with Berserker's help. But, like, with just Berserker's help, if he's, like, that close to losing, adding Shiro and Rin, I don't know if that's enough. Even if Shiro sword bursts, maybe he can distract Gil long enough to shank Shinji, but that wouldn't even knock Gil out, right? So I don't see it. I don't see us winning against Gil here. Not with just Berserker. Maybe we can get Lancer team up too? with just Berserker, I'm highly doubting it. There's no point in getting the Grail now because Castor's too powerful. You'll be your pursuivants of killing the witch. Maybe that's one way to, you know, make an alliance with Gil and Shinji. I don't want to make an alliance with Shinji though. He's a douche. If he's gonna have a redemption arc, I don't think he can have it from a position of power. He's in too much power right now. So, I didn't end the video yet. I did, but then I stopped on ending it. But, yeah, thoughts, theories. I feel like we might have to, maybe most likely thing is Shiro does a distraction, or like, maybe they offer an alliance, and Gilly accepts it, but like Shinji doesn't, and then Gilly shanks Shinji, and he's like, okay, I'll let you guys do your little thing before I come and get Ilya. He could do that, maybe. Or, okay, I'll work together with you guys to get back Saber. It's a little OP having Gil on our side, but they might do it if it's like with bad intentions, like they have to work around Gil too, like he's on your side but not really, only because he wants to steal Saber back. That's possible, I suppose. That could be interesting. It would be a little... It wouldn't have us as much of underdogs, though, if they do that. But it could be interesting. And I feel like they would do us from an underdog position. But it's going to be hard to get out of this situation without either getting Gil on our side or at least giving us a chance to, you know, like, yes, go ahead and fight Castor. I'll watch from the sidelines, you know, and amuse myself. That's a possible outcome. I think in either case, he would still shank Shinji. So, I don't know. I don't think Shinji would be okay with... he might, if he's like, yeah, you're right, Castor's too strong. But he believes so much in Gilly's hype that unless Gilly's like, no, she's too strong. But Gilly believes too much in his own hype to accept that, I don't think. And unless Gilly admits that he's not the hype enough, I don't think... Like, Gilly might... I think Gilly would think he's the hype enough and just wouldn't do it because... he would hold off because, oh, you know, it's amusing to see it happen. But Shinji wouldn't work that way. He would just go, no, I have to kill Shiro now. Maybe Shiro point Gil at Castor for violating his wife. Oh, yeah, exactly. Something like that could happen. I just don't see any way out of this situation where Gil just doesn't shank Shinji. Because, like, I don't think we can beat Gil. So I feel like we need to get him to stand down. And maybe that does mean he's just going to shank Shinji, which would be a little bit of a sad ending for him, which might set up for his redemption in Timeline 3, you know, what I'm theorizing to be the big Mato timeline. Possibly. I don't know. The thing is, I expected there to be more of a fight here, but with how scared Ilya is, this says to me that Berserker is losing badly. If it was more even, we might have more of a fight here, and so Shinji, you know, it could be more of a Shinji, you know, we fight against Shinji kind of thing. And maybe even win. Maybe we can beat Gil with the right combination of stuffs with Ilya. But I don't think, given the circumstance, with how much she's losing, unless we get a second secret ally in, like, Lancer, I don't see us beating Gil in this situation. Unless Lancer shows up to save the day, I don't see us beating, yeah, Gilly from here. We have to talk him down, I would think. Anyways, I'm going to stop for now. See you tomorrow. Thoughts and theories and stuff, so no outro phrases. Gilly, casual Gilly.